Good evening and welcome to our fifth webinar series. Uh, Thank you so much for joining into this session. Today, I have my colleague Hassan with me. Hassan leads our pre-sales practice. We'll talk a little about Hassan today as we go through the webinar because our topic for the day is, how do we build complex online and offline, mobile-enabled workflows easily with no code. And somebody like Hassan has a great role to play in that. So we'll talk about him. Welcome to the discussion, Hassan.
Thank you, Joseph. Glad to be here in the webinar.
Thanks. So, we get started quickly. And one of the first things that I'd like to talk about today is in terms of understanding complex workflows and the importance of, no-code platforms. If you actually went back a little in time, every organization predominantly looked at what was business critical, and there was infrastructure built around that. Be it from a hardware perspective or be it from an application perspective, depending on each investment capability, they would go in for a renowned product in the market, or depending on the flexibility that they needed, they would build something in-house or hire somebody to build an application, around the core, around a core problem that they wanted to solve, especially from a business criticality perspective. But then over a period of time, we see that, data, the importance of data coming in, right? Today, everybody wants to keep a tab on everything that they are doing. There is data available everywhere. And then there could be functions that could be extremely business critical. There could be functions that aid to be business critical. And then it might not make complete business sense for somebody to make a very large investment into a pool of data where it just aids for them to be business critical. However, the most important part being that the data that you are able to generate, somewhere you need to see it. So far, it has been happening manually, right? So we've had situations where data is captured manually, be it in a business workflow or business operations or field operations. Things were manually done, and we were okay with it. And then it would be entered into a business application manually, and then from there the automation part took over. But now, largely, there are a lot of applications that are being built around the capture of data in itself, where it originates and how quickly can you build those applications, which, today is determining the speed of business, how quickly can you go to the market, and so on and so forth. Now, some of these could be extremely complex, right? To give you an example, we work with a poultry company who would like to monitor how their agents are supplying livestock to each of their partners. Now, when you look at a country like India and certain cities like Hyderabad, you could find that the partners are probably one lane adjacent to each other, right? And then a manual process definitely is cumbersome. But how do you build a application around it, and how do you build it with ensuring that the data that you're able to capture is absolutely true, right? So it brings in a lot of complexity there in terms of, are we capturing the right amount of data to the user of that particular application, right? How well aware is he of using a product like this? At what level is he, and things like that, right? That is where your no-code platforms play a huge role, right? Not just limiting to that. Certainly today, all the large names that you look at have embraced the need for no-code, low-code, they have, at least one leg into that particular concept of no-code, where they are also evolving in building products to become no-code. So that it becomes much more easier for their customers to embrace the product, right? Coming back to the point that where we started around the complexity, now to build an application around certain aspects which could have been done only manually, Building an application just for that purpose could be quite cumbersome, tiring, uh, and expensive, right, over a period of time, uh, and pretty limiting so far as business is concerned, because the user or the business function may not be absolutely business critical, but aids to be business critical. So there's a minute difference there. Now, to beat those complexities, no code platforms come in as very very handy. Uh, Purely because of the nature of it being no code, of it being DIY, it enables anybody to build those applications out, right? Somebody does not have to be absolutely technical to do this, but certainly functional to understand how the workflows perform, and how one could rationally build that application. So no code platform gives you that, enables you or gives you that ease with which you can build those platforms up. So the more complex the workflows become, the more easier it is, or I would say it is easier to build an application using no code platforms. So that is what is my perspective at large. Uh, Now, having worked with a bunch of customers, what are your thoughts on this, Hassan?
Thanks, Joseph. There was a lot of insights. Now, first, to understand what a complex workflow means is where, there are a lot of steps involved into that particular workflow, right? And these steps are a combination of a field executive or and a manager, a third-party system that is involved, and a customer and an end customer as well, right? Now, this is what defines a complex workflow. With no code platform, the amazing part is where this kind of collaboration can be built within few hours, right? Uh, Once this is built in few hours, it can be deployed within just minutes as well, right? And the best thing again with that is, now once these workflows are built, we all understand that based on the evolving nature of business and evolving nature of technologies and needs of humans, right? These changes are very constant. Amazingly, no code platforms changes can be implemented as fast as that as well, right? So this is my perspective. Now when it happens, now whenever these changes happens with the business, the product maturity also increases. So these no code platforms adapt the similar business conditions and make sure that it is also ready for future endeavors with any other prospects coming in, right? So it's already available. There must be something that is not available and then it gets available, and other customers also benefits from that as well, right? And whenever there are any changes to happen, there are no limitations to that. Anytime, anywhere you would want to do a change where the business process must be changed or is getting impacted, or probably the business is not growing, this can be done within just a matter of hours, right? So that's my perspective, Joseph, on the understanding the complex workflows and how the no code platforms are very very adaptive and very important for a business to get themselves digitized.
Great points there, Hassan, and thank you so much for providing that insight for everybody who is on the bridge. One insight that I would like to give you is that Hassan comes from a hotel management background. He does not come from a tech background, and he leads our pre-sales practice, which means that today he has interfaced with hundreds of customers and provided them solutions around their workflows, understanding them, and creating those applications, right? It's just a testament of how easy it is for somebody to understand, right, how to build an application. And you really do not have to be technical. Certainly, he has spent some amount of time at sports in terms of understanding the product and in terms of creating those applications. But then the point that I would like to drive is that you necessarily do not have to have a technical background. Somebody who understands the problem functionally will be able to build those applications. Now, looking at some challenges, right, or limitations that manual actions could have, and how no code helps you to meet those challenges, right? One certainly is that it is your time to market, right? Where if I today have a lot of activity that is being done manually, and then that activity has to be entered into a certain system based on which a certain decision needs to happen, uh, it could easily, take you some time, right? Uh, if I looked at it, 10 or 15 years ago, what something would have taken months certainly has come down to weeks, right? Uh, but then still, the fact that there is a lot of manual activity that happens, still needs to go through a couple of weeks before somebody could make a decision. Now, this could have a huge impact on, let's take an example, right? For example, a services industry, where you are basically offering a service to a client, and there is an anomaly that the client detects, and then he raises a request for it. For that request to be addressed, if it has to go through multiple chains, and if it is manual and automated in the whole process, it could take a couple of days. Wherein it results in poor customer experience to that customer, right? Now that whole thing can certainly be changed, so by moving away from a manual process. The other huge limitation is that when you say it is a manual process, it is human beings entering information on a book, paper, possibly sending information via siloed apps like your WhatsApp, or possibly SMS, where data could be lost in transition, data could be incorrect, the sanity of the data could not be as is, because uh, when we are talking to clients also, right, we are encouraged to take notes, because uh, maybe tomorrow you could have forgotten what you just discussed with the customer, right? So always manual methods of capturing information has huge amount of limitations, in terms of the sanity of the data, how clear, concise is data that you've captured, how effectively you're able to push it into a system, needs a lot of discipline. And by the time somebody actually looks at it and then makes a decision, you probably have lost your customer, right? So that is where something like a no-code platform helps you, where you identify a gray area where you think things are manual, and then there is you really don't have a view of what is actually happening, right? We interface with a lot of customers on a day-to-day basis, where a customer comes and says that I do not know what my people on the field are doing. I have given them an activity, and they report it at the end of the day, but I really do not know if he's actually gone there, done that activity, and I have no way to monitor this as well, right? Uh, this could also be a very sensitive issue, because somebody does not like a lens being put on them all the time, uh, and it has to be handled with utmost care, right? There's a factor of trust that you go by. Uh, Having said that, while you go by a factor of trust, you still have that doubt in your mind if the activity is actually happening or not, right? So that is where a platform like this, enables you to quickly, spin up an application, and also helps your user on the field understand that it's not just about monitoring the person, right? It also helps them complete their task or activities quickly, right? Uh, Imagine going to the field, taking notes, coming back at the end of the day, filling an Excel sheet, and then submitting it, rather than going on field, uh, looking at an activity that's been assigned to you, uh, complete the task, validate it, submit it, and then go for the next meeting, right? Makes your life much more easier. uh, because you ensure that you're meeting more people while you do the activity. B, uh, it saves you so much time, right? You could basically use that time for anything else. It could be to educate yourself, meeting more customers, whatever that can be, right? Or give more space and time for yourself. So the platform just is not a lens on the person, but it is also more about how quickly and easily you will be able to capture that information digitally. Now, it's not just true for somebody who's in the field, right? It could be a internal approval process, right? Today we do a lot of approvals over emails, right? I need this, or this has to be bought in, and stuff like that. Or you have some very complex applications which already does a lot of other stuff, and then approvals becomes a part of it. or maybe there are a lot of other things that you're doing with that business application, and approvals is not a part of it. Maybe from a investment or a cost perspective, that you did not want to make that a piece, right? So largely a lot of customers still rely on emails to do approvals, right? So in those cases, right, you really have no visibility. I've raised a request for an approval, I've sent an email, and then I walk up to the person if he's in the office. And if I'm in a remote location, I probably have to call him and tell him, look, I've sent an email, I need an approval on that, right? So it's quite a cumbersome process. Now, again, with a no-code platform, you can quickly spin up an application. And with effort, the biggest advantage is that it is DIY, and you could add more processes as well, right? Let's say today you built a flow, and then tomorrow you want to make some changes to it, where you say that, okay, I need an additional level of validation, right? You can quickly spin that out for yourself, right? So given the manual actions and the limitations that it has, right, with no-code platforms, you can quickly and easily spin up those applications. In your view, that you have met and spoken to so many customers over the last couple of years, where are there points where you can pinpoint and say customer has come back and said that, hey, while I'm a large organization and I have a lot of business applications, there still are a lot of manual actions, and how do I move away from it? And then what are the key elements that they look at when they want to build an application with a no-code platform?
Yeah, whatever you've mentioned, Joseph, I'm also in line with those statements. Firstly, manual actions, there could be two ways of doing it. First is where there's no digitization at all, right? Now, when there's no digitization, everything happens on pen and paper. There's a lot of gray area whenever the details are to be consolidated first and then validated the second, right? Now, by the time the executives on the field, whoever is going and performing their activities on the field, by the time they do it on the paper, get it consolidated and moves it to the manager, it takes about weeks to get it done, right? And by the time manager validates it and makes sure that there are reports built out of it, it goes over months, right? So first thing, with a no-code platform, especially with effort, we have actually observed that when customers have started using it, it has drastically dropped down to within weeks that these reports are now being built, right? Secondly, even if you are digitizing the pen and paper over a digital form, there is still manual entry that has to be done, right, by the executives. Now, again, with these no-code platforms, where an executive is not supposed to fill in the data that is, that is something that has to be already being there, right? It's like a convenient data that should already be there available, right? For those situations, the no-code platform actually provides an integration facility, right? Where, let's say, as an executive, I open up a form. Why do I have to select my state that I'm in? Why does the form does not show the state that I'm actually in automatically, right? So this kind of advantages can also be done with the no-code platform, where I make the user use the application or enter the details in the application as minimum as possible, and rest of the details are actually being covered by the other systems as well. Right. Now, the key elements that the organizations actually look at is, first is they want to see how easy it is that a particular system can talk to another system. Right now, with effort, the API integrations are already built in. It's basically that we are already moved our hand forward for a shake. It's just that we wait for the other party to just move their hands for a shake, and we wait for a firm shake hand to be done. This is something that is very important because most of the large organizations, they already have their own tools available, and they only want to make sure that if any tool is being added up, it is very seamless, that any data being captured is instantly updated into the new application, which is completely possible and is very easy and seamless with the no-code platforms. Right. So that's my understanding.
Fantastic. Great points there. Yeah. Moving on, how easy or would it be for somebody to build a mobile-enabled online or offline workflow using a no-code platform, right? Now, we spoke about your background as a hotel management graduate. When you came on board, right, I'm sure that was your first stint with technology. What were your thoughts? And when you went through that first session, right, how easy or difficult was it for you to understand and create something like this? And then how much time did it really take for somebody like you to learn this?
So for me, when I initiated my career in this, when I got into a no-code product, when I started understanding it, it completely made sense when I started looking at it as a solution for businesses, rather not as a solution where I have to think in technical area, right? Now, as I started looking at it, like, okay, this could actually solve a business solution, or I have a business solution that I want to fit it into this. That started making sense for me. That okay, this can be used in multiple areas, right? First, and the second thing is, now as I started understanding that this product can help businesses, it took me around, with a full-fledged understanding, around a month or two to have a complete hands-on training, including the basic, intermediate, and advanced, to make sure, I deal with customer. But to make sure that you use the basic product, to make sure, as a customer, you would want to just simply create a form, or, drag and drop a workflow, or just add an approval flow. It will not take you more than a week to make sure that you actually have hands-on experience of that. It's that quick and that easy.
Okay, so let's consider that you're a guy who had an inclination to learn a technology product, and you came in and probably you spent some time. There was a lot of energy, and then you made an attempt to learn this product on your own. There was an interest that came from your end. I'm sure there are other team members also who are coming in, and how much time are they taking to learn this product, right? Somebody who's not, again, are they from varied backgrounds, or and how easy is it for them to learn this product?
Exactly. So again, the team members joining him has different backgrounds that they come from. Uh, so whenever they are being trained, if they are being trained, making sure that how the product can solve business solutions, rather than not just doing a configuration and understanding, okay, you just create a form and this is how you fill a form, right? That does not make sense when you do the configurations. But when you actually relate it with the business, it takes a similar time for them to understand and learn as well. But again, depending on their pace of learning, it may vary to 2 weeks or 3 weeks from there.
2 weeks,
Yeah,
couple
but
of weeks, and
couple of
then
weeks.
yeah, and then they are ready to talk to customers, understand their workflows, and then create those workflows as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Would you like to show us something in terms of how easy is it to build something around no code, right? When you say DIY, why is it DIY? Is it, I mean, while we are saying a lot of things that it is easy and then it can be done, can we also put a proof to the pudding, saying that, hey, I'm not just saying it, but I can show it to you as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me just go ahead and share my screen first.
Sure, sure.
Just present from here. Share, great. So let's say I'm a new company. I've created. I'm actually a CEO of a company, and I would want to start using the Effort platform. And I have a basic need of first capturing the details of a market, customer details, and make sure that I've done some market research for my product, right? So all I do is first I just search in geteffort.com here. I get an option to do a login here. Now, assuming that I have already created the company and I have the credentials available, I click on the login button. It asks me to do a login with an email ID and password. So I have dummy credentials created, which I'll be using here. I'll be using the email ID and password, and I click on the login button here. Now, once I've been logged in, it actually welcomes me with few functionalities that I can do for the entire that I would want to do. Right now, if you see here, there is something as an app builder, which is where the DIY power lies in. Right now, what I do is I click on the app builder here. I find multiple cards right on the screen saying that okay, you want to create a form, you want to create a process or a list or an entity, all of these details. Right now, my basic requirement first is I want to make sure that I capture some data from the market that I would want my product to be launched in, right? What I do is I click on create form here. I again get multiple options. I want to create on my own, where I want a form to be designed based on my convenience. I click on create on my own. It opens up a page for me where I can design the form, right? And it's very simple. On the left hand side, it tells me what kind of data field that you need to capture the data in, right? On the top, it tells me the title of the form. So let's say I'd name this form as market research, right? Then on the left hand side, I can scroll and I see that there are multiple fields that are available for me, which is very convenient for me to take any field in and capture the data right away, right? So let's say I want to first drag and drop and enter the field as area name, right? I want the executive to fill in which area that they have actually been submitting this form in, and I drag and drop another, and I ask him to enter the customer name here. And then I also want him to capture the phone number so that I can contact with these customers as well. uh, I would also want to capture the email, but I understand that there are scenarios where customers might not share their email, so I can mark it as non-mandatory. If I just remove this checkbox, it makes it non-mandatory and optional field instead, right? And then I want to put a drop down here stating that for which product this market research was done, right? So I can simply drop down, drag and drop a drop down field here and put the label as product list, and then I can put some products over here, right? Let's say I'm just going with product A, and then I'm going with product B and product C. Right now, let's say this is the basic details that I would want to capture initial stage of my business. All I do is I get that, okay, these are the details I want to capture. On the right hand side, there's a publish option. I click on publish and I click on okay. That's it. That's how fast I just actually created the form for my field executives to go and fill in the data. Now once these forms are built, now I'm going to present from my mobile application here. Now it will show you how fast these forms are available on the mobile application for the field executive, right? As the CEO, I call my executive and I say that there is one form now available on the mobile. I want you to go and start filling that form. As an executive, after listening to my CEO, what I do is I click on the Effort NXT button here, and if you see, it shows my name on the top, and it asks me to do a sign in. Now this is where I can mark my attendance, so my CEO also knows that I'm actually working for the day, right? I click on the sign in button here, and I do the sign in where it captures my face and the location at the bottom. I click on the sign in button here, and you see that form, market research form that we just created in the web, is available for me in the mobile application. What I do, I go on the field, I click on the form, I click on the plus icon here to enter some details. Let's say I'm going to enter the area name that I'm working in, the customer that I met, and his phone number. And if you see here, the email ID is not mandatory. You can see there's no asterisk mark next to it, right? And I scroll down and I'll select that, this is for the product A, right? Now, as an executive, right now, there's a possibility that, I can go and speak about multiple products. But my problem here is I'm actually only able to select one product here. If you see,
Mhm.
if I try to change, it only selects one product. Now, this is a problem for me. So what I do, I call my CEO and I tell that, sir, there is a problem. A customer has given for two products, but I'm only able to select one. So what I do as a CEO or as an admin of the organization, I go back to the screen, I click on modify design, and I can simply change this from a drop down to a multi-select drop down here, right?
Okay.
And all I have to do is click on save here again. What I ask, I again then call the executive. I tell him that, why don't you simply go and sync once and you will have your problem solved. So I go back to the home screen. I do a sync where, I get all the updated configurations. I click on market research. I click on the plus icon. Now, when I click on this, I see that I'm able to select multiple options here, and that's it. My problem there is just solved. Right now, there was possibility when there was a single selection, I used to only enter one or two forms, but since I have a flexibility now, I can enter as much as forms I want to do.
So after the application was actually made available to the user, there was a change that was required, and you could simply go back, modify the design, and then ensure that it
Absolutely.
was fantastic.
Absolutely. Now, if you see the part from where the implementation has happened, right, and the deployment has happened, just took around few minutes, and the change took the similar time. right? Now,
Correct.
if you see here, I simply enter the area name, I enter the customer name, and I enter a mobile number, and I've selected the products. All I have to do is click on save, and that's it. Now I don't have to wait till the overnight for this data. I don't have to go and say that I've actually filled the data. As a
It's
CEO,
immediate.
it's very immediate. As a CEO, I simply go to a place where I can monitor the data that is being captured. I go to that particular there's something called as web app where we can actually monitor these submissions. So I'm just going to just switch to that particular there. And on the navigation bar, I click on the navigation bar here, and it shows me that form, market research form, that's available, right? So it's even very quick. Now if it happens on the mobile, it's similar time it takes on the web as well. Now I can simply end the tour. Since we are first time in this, it also gives you a tour. If you see the application, the form that was submitted by my executive on the field is available for me over here. It's just that quick. I want to view the details, I click on the eye icon, and I see that the details are available here. Now similar data, right, if it has to be there in a third party system, in a different system that has to be available, I don't have to download this and then upload it there. With the integration, the data is at the point that it is released, it is visible here. It will also be visible in the other system as well.
Okay. In a format that they would like to see in that system,
Exactly.
or some kind of customization that needs to be done for that as well.
No, it is this whatever they would want to see the data to be flown to them, that can be done in that way.
Oh, okay. Great, great. And typically, what is the response you get from customers when you show something like this, right? Or when you onboard a customer, while you can show all these things. How easily have you found that the customers also are able to quickly adapt to something like this and have started liking this?
Yeah, in my experience, since most of the customers that we deal with, they would want, a support from our side because they are mostly dealing with their operations. In those scenarios, we are the ones who go and help them out, right? But in situations like we have few customers that they asked us to simply, teach us the process that we want to do, how to train us rather on how to do this, right? We have given them a training of a week or two, and they have created approximately 30 to 35 processes themselves, right, without any support
Wow.
from our side.
So they really did not have to hire a specialist. They did not have to go through rigorous training, certification to do this, right? With
No, right.
in-house talent that they have, they're able to manage this with a week, you said, training?
Absolutely. Exactly. A
Fantastic,
week or two,
fantastic.
because, yeah, that's it.
Okay, okay, great. Thank you so much for sharing this, Hassan. Gives a lot of insight and the ease with which you're able to spin up an application, make changes to it. Sometime back when people had to do this, it possibly would have been weeks, months, sometimes a year too, right? To build an application, test, develop it, and then bring it to usability, right? And then training people to use it was a huge hassle, right? With no code, I think you're taking away the whole thing. The other thing that also caught my attention was building mobile applications online or offline, right? So how are we achieving this, and what is how does a customer view it in your experience?
Yes. So with the online and offline capabilities that Effort has, right now, we have most of the customers that are spread geographically. Now, when I say geographically, there is a high chance that they also work in a rural area, right? Now, data captured anywhere is very, very important to the customer. Now, this data, we make sure that whenever the executive is on the field, we don't hamper their performance. We don't stop if there is no network. They go on the field, even if there's no internet connectivity, they start performing their activities. And once they sync back to the internet, or they have a minimum connectivity available, the data gets synced back to them, right? The best thing is, even if you have complex workflows that have complex conditions, right? The entire data comes and sits on your mobile application where it has no dependency from the online capability, right? All the conditions, all the the validations will be happening locally on the mobile application itself. Now, working with most of the customers who are in this, we have seen that there have been a 30, which is a very understated percentage, but a 30% productivity that has been observed. It is actually more than that, but 30% being an average.
We have questions also coming in, right? And I think we've covered a couple of them. But one question that came in is, what basic skills would anyone need to get started, and how do you know you're on the right path?
What basic skills? The best thing is,
Yeah.
the basic skills is you need to know how you will be using a desktop. Basically, that is the basic skill that you would need, and a little bit of training that will be provided. Just a learning capability of, okay, this is what it is. Right? That's it. That's the basic
Yeah.
skill that you would
So
need to
somebody
get
who
started
understands
and
his
start.
business. Yeah. So somebody who understands his business, somebody who knows what is the flow in his business, should be able to easily configure this up.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah. So, who possibly in an organization could, benefit from, no code, platforms and their advantages, right? So, to my mind, definitely a business owner benefits because uh, he definitely wants to take his product or service to the market very quickly, ensure that the best experience is provided, right? And technology has to be an enabler when he does that. So, in my view, a business owner definitely is a huge beneficiary of a no-code platform, right? His reliance on hardcore technical stuff, his reliance on high investments certainly comes down, right? So the agility with which a no-code platform can help you, build or spin up an application certainly helps a business owner. I also think that a user on the field, right, it helps them also very significantly because it eases their it eases the complexities involved in their work. It helps them capture what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, so everything is real time. uh, Two, if any changes need to be made in the whole workflow or process, as we have seen, how you made changes to the workflow immediately, right? When you do that, right, it actually brings in a lot of ease of doing activity or business, right? So I think it touches every part in an organization, right? Right from a business owner to a user to somebody who is monitoring the user and things like that. I think it predominantly benefits pretty much everybody in the organization. Uh, what, in your view, who could be the biggest beneficiaries? Are they the same list, or would you have anything more to add there?
No, I believe it's the same list, Joseph, because what we do is, any organization, right? We categorize them in three different areas. There is acquisitions, there is service, and there's operations, right? And we understand that in these different categories, there are different users involved. There is an internal employee, there is an external employee, there is a customer who's involved. So when I say an internal, there could be a back office employee or an office employee who sits on the laptop. There is a person who's on the field. There's a customer who is somewhere at the end who is actually receiving the services. And the best thing is, all of them are getting benefited with the effort platform, with the no code platform, right? The collaboration between them, the processes, any process that a business has, any operations process that a business have, where it has a workflow or an approval process, right, or a checklist process, all of these can be benefited from the effort platform.
Fantastic, fantastic. There's another question that has coming, that I already have an app, and I have a developer who's helping me to develop more features. Why should I move to a no-code platform? Right, it's a standard challenge or question that comes when we interact with a lot of customers, right? So in my view, first is that as businesses grow and as needs keep changing, having an app is already great. I know that it could help you in terms of running an organization and things like that. But having an app developer, the time that it actually takes for you to build in a feature, right, and make it live up and running is certainly going to be way far more than what you would see in a no-code platform, right? But definitely, that is one part. Uh, Two, I have come across a lot of customers who built an app. They would have hired an external agency to do that for themselves, and then they would have hired people internally with technical skills, done a knowledge transfer so that the app is maintained and things like that. Uh, and then suddenly the your vendor shuts shop, right? Uh, and then you're left high and dry. There is very little that you can do in terms of managing it. So you have an internal team. If the internal guy also leaves, right, we are all human beings and our career aspirations could be different, then you're stuck with a certain application for a very, very long time. uh, then largely what happens is that a lot of customers live with that pain, right? That there are so many changes that are happening in the ecosystem. That things could be different if this enabled technology could help you, but then you live with it because it could be time consuming for you to look at another vendor, build another app, and then make this live up and running. And then you still have the threat of having the same challenge, right? Now that is where something like a no code comes and helps you, because from what we have spoken so far, right, somebody does not have to be a tech savvy guy, somebody who really uses technology to the fore, right? If you kind of understand your business process with the little bit of training that was provided, you can continue to use. And at effort, we always are handholding a customer. Like Hassan just mentioned, there are customers who come back to us asking us to make changes. There are customers who build this thing on their own, right, with a little bit of training that we provided. Uh, they see how the first one or two processes were built, and then after that they've gone forward to build tens of other processes. Uh, that is where the whole change happens, right? Now people could move, technology could get outdated. And then, one of the biggest benefits that a no-code platform gives you is your time to market, right? To ensure that you get a better ROI for whatever activity that you're doing. Hence, I think it makes sense for anybody to move to a no-code platform, right? To ensure that that enablement of technology becomes the easiest for you to do anything there, right? Uh, what could be the building blocks that somebody might have to look at when they are moving into a low-code platform in any business, right? Are there any key elements that you would like to call out? When somebody is considering, it could be a huge decision because somebody has known to be building an application either through an in-house talent or probably a third party, right? So that is how we want to learn how applications are built, right? Now, what should be the trigger for somebody to look at and say, okay, hey, now maybe I should look at a no-code platform. So any thoughts that you would have there?
Yeah, see, the first thing is with the no-code platform, right? What we tell the customers is, don't focus on doing the things that are technical, because the process is basically something that should grow your business. So you should focus on growing your business and leave these the developments that are being done to the experts, right? Now with no code, what we do is we ask them to focus on growing your business. Any requirements that come in, you leave it to us, we help you with that, right? That's the first thing. Now when any developer leaves, it's very hard, as you has actually mentioned, right? It's very hard to find any other developer to make to get it from the pace that it's already in. Now again, when the knowledge transfer happens, it is always it is very typical that the knowledge transfer is not 100%, right? There's always a miss that happens, which could lead to again more commercials, more changes that could involve, which again leads to delays in their projects, right? Now again, when it comes to when it comes to scale, now let's say for example you already have built product, right? And there is a larger volume involved in that, right? Now again, to bring someone in and to make sure that it goes, they want to move it up and all that. It again takes a lot of time, there's a lot of effort involved in that, right? Now the other way to look at it is, now again, let's say a customer says, there is already an app that we have, and we still want to use it, right? We don't want to change it. What we do is we try and complement our solution over that as well, right? So there's always a way around for that as well, right? Now again, most of the problems that would be faced is already covered by you, Joseph, but yes, there's always an option to complement solutions for each other as well, right? So, and again, since the business keeps on growing, the kind of data that is available, it would need more and more expert people to actually analyze the data and make sure what kind of development is required. But with no code, you don't actually look at it, right? You just tell us the requirement, and the experts do their job, right? So that's my take.
So some of the points that I am able to gather from this discussion that we're having so far is that with no code, it typically takes away one pain point from your from the whole gamut of things. One is you can be absolutely be focused on your business, right?
Absolutely.
You can absolutely be focused on your business, and uh, uh, two is that it is people could leave, right? And it may not be as easy for you to find talent, right? Or at the same scale, or he or she may take time to scale up to that level as well, right? So that is another challenge, right? So that is something that one certainly needs to consider. And then while you're small, it's okay, you can still manage. But as the organization grows, as you have a bunch of developers coming in, as the needs keep growing, it becomes even more challenging, and then you may have to focus a lot more time than you would otherwise usually do in terms of managing that app, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, so clearly outlining. So there, you leave that job to the experts, right? Let somebody like Sports with Effort, help you build those applications, and based on how your business needs change, help you to spin out those apps, make changes to your processes, and so on and so forth, right? Thank you so much, Hassan. That was a great conversation. Thank you for taking us through the demo. We have quite a few attendees here, and then I'd like to leave the floor open for any questions. Hassan and I will be happy to answer. Yeah, I guess we do not have any questions at the moment. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation. I hope we've been able to give you a quick gist about how no-code platforms help you move away from an existing setup in building new applications, making changes to those applications, and how they basically enable you to be more focused on your business and not spending too much time in building and developing applications, how it can basically help you to get to the market faster and be more relevant in the current days, right? Thank you so much. Signing off on that note, we will I will look forward to meeting with you in the next webinar. Thank you once again, Hassan. Have a good day.
Thanks, Joseph. Thanks.